Tatsuya Imai has his posting coming down to tomorrow. So any minute, we might know the future of the Japanese superstar pitcher. And experts are now saying, look for the Cubs. We'll talk about that. Nico Hoerner potentially traded to the Giants. What are his thoughts on that? And what's the latest on the Alex Bregman sweepstakes? All of that right here on your favorite Cubs baseball channel. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Hit that QR code right there. AveD, join Mick Nation. Let's get this thing started. Good to see you guys. And Happy New Year, everybody. I mean, can you believe we're in 2026? Man, it sounds crazy to say that. Let's go. Release everybody, Mick Gillespie, Cubs baseball channel, and it is great to see you guys today and talk about this, and great to be in 2026. Going to have another fantastic year. Maybe this is the year that the Cubs win the World Series again. All right. Did it 10 years ago. Why not do it again? Here's a guy that may help him do it. And hopefully this happens, right? Tatsuya Imi is predicted to go to the Cubs, not by every expert, but by some experts. And with a deal that could be up to $150 million, it doesn't feel like a deal that the Cubs would be willing to do without opt-outs, right? But this was a guy in the Nippon Professional Baseball League who was a star. And we see that you bring the mid-90s fastball and the wrong way screwball type slider and all of that stuff to the big leagues. It translates, right? And you've heard the Yankees and you've heard the Cubs and you've heard Boston and the, maybe the White Sox. He's also been vocal about wanting to beat the LA Dodgers. And I'll tell you what would be cool is if the Cubs were that team. Because remember, when the Cubs won the World Series 10 years ago, they beat the Dodgers in doing it. And you're going to have to beat LA to get to where you want to get to these days, right? I think the Cubs looked at the success that Yamamoto had, and they're like, hey, this thing works. And it would be definitely one of those things where if the Cubs pull this off, then I think there would be a lot of excitement too, right? After pitching for in Japan last year. So CBS Sports, RJ Anderson predicted that Imai would pick the Cubs over the Yankees in free agency. Man, that would be such a huge win if he does that. So we'll find out. And we'll find out soon. If he doesn't get signed, then guess what? He's got to go back to Japan for another year. But with Scott Boras as his agent, I don't think that he's going to and pitching at a premium. I don't see him going back to Japan, right? And when I put this show together, I try wait because he could announce at any second, and when he does, then we'll jump on live if we can get to the computer and basically talk about this because if he comes to us. Now, if he goes to the Yankees, then, you'll just get your normal morning show. So I love the idea, though, of the Cubs spending some money on this guy. But what is I'm curious about is if they don't sign him, they say they get Bregman, do they make a trade for a Cabrera from the Marlins, give up some prospects or, maybe even some guys off the big league roster to do that, right? So that they can get a starting pitcher or and the third baseman. But I don't know that it would be of this caliber. So there's some question marks when you have a guy coming from Japan. How's that going to translate to the big leagues? But with that said, I mean, it's translated. And I've talked about this on these shows. Like, I love the Japanese baseball culture. I like that they have come over, these guys, and they have been some of the best players. It's like in the NBA, you look at the European influence and it was a time when you really didn't have a lot of European guys as your best players. And now, they're winning championships every year. So it's a trend. The Cubs have an opportunity to add pitching. They said they were going to do that, spend money to do it. We'll see what happens. Now, part of this is the Alex Bregman sweepstakes. And we love to update you on the Alex Bregman thing. And here's another kind of prediction that maybe the Cubs are a sleeping giant in the sweepstakes to get Bregman. I mean, can you imagine a world where the Cubs got Imai and Bregman this offseason? I mean, I know some of you guys are looking at it and going, I don't see that happening, right? But Kyle Tucker's not coming back. I wouldn't think. I'd be shocked if he does. He's the number one free agent. Bo Bichette, you got Cody Bellinger out there. We've already had him. I think he'll end up probably with the Yankees. The Red Sox really want to bring Bregman back, and I think part of it is if you don't bring him back and you traded Devers, your regular third baseman, who's a really good player, then you kind of put yourself in a spot where you're going, what do we do here? But read on Fansided Red Sox page, a guy named Robert Murray talked about Bregman talking to the Cubs and how the Cubs have been in pursuit. This goes back to last year and called the Cubs a sleeping giant in this deal. Okay, I like that. The Cubs have made this a priority. And if they don't have Kyle Tucker, they're not going to bring back Bellinger, Bregman would be a pretty good fit, right? And then that gets me into the Nico Hoerner rumors, right? Because then everybody's talking about, well, maybe Nico gets traded. And there was a story in San Francisco that the Giants kicked the tires on a Nico Hoerner trade, who's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. And sometimes teams will get rid of guys. No one wants Nico Hoerner to get traded. But for a business, for the business aspect of things, sometimes you do deals that maybe you don't necessarily want to do because it's going to help your franchise down the road. And I think that this is one of those deals where, I could see the Cubs making a move. Well, he was on the Score in Chicago and talked about it with those guys and our guy, Spiegel and Holmes is the show, and those guys are really good. And anyway, he said on there basically that he had heard the rumors and kind of addressed it. He's like, this is his quote. It's hard to explain to people that things can be, yes, that's not false reporting, but that also doesn't really mean anything. It's like hard to navigate that space, I think. And he said, but yeah, I see that stuff. Like basically he's from the Bay Area. Okay. And it would be a huge draw if the Giants made a deal to get him, or maybe they sign him in free agency because he's a super popular player from out there. Remember I think his mom's a professor at Stanford. He's a really smart guy, Nico. He's such a fun player to have on your team. I think that the Cubs analytics don't like him because of his lack of power, but he gets on base and he squares the ball up a lot, and he's pretty good with runners in scoring position, and he's a Gold Glove second baseman. There's a lot of good things to love about him. I think he's a winning player too. But the Giants, they'd love to have him, and the Cubs may have to trade him to pay for some of these guys that they have if they go out and sign him, including Imai and Bregman. So we'll see what happens. It's the rumors are out there. The Cubs have to go and figure out a way to get better than the Dodgers to win the World Series. So they've got to do stuff to be creative in that area. And then you look at the Blue Jays, who were, should have won the World Series really and didn't. What is it going to take to beat the Dodgers, to upend LA, right? It's going to take a lot. And so when you put a team together, you're going to need guys like Alex Bregman and Tatsuya Imi. But some of you are going to say, well, you're also going to need Nico Hoerner, right? So we'll see what happens. But I love Nico, and I love his candor. And it was pretty cool to see him on the show talking about it. And, I got this feeling from him that he might not mind being traded to the Giants. He could be like, hey, I live here. I'm home. Yeah, everybody could come see my games every day. We don't want to give you up, Nico. Just know that. All right, guys. AveD, Mick Nation. We want you to get in there. For those of you that are watching this before 3:00, you can go and win money on the Alabama versus Indiana game. I know there's a ton of you guys from that are Indiana fans, Notre Dame fans, and Iowa fans. Hey, congratulations, Illinois fans. Like college football, Illinois was a winner. Iowa was a winner. It's pretty cool. And we'll see Indiana take on Alabama. We're giving away 150 per quarter to pick, plus swag and all that stuff. Just get in AveD, hit that QR code right there, and be a part of it. And then lastly, let me say this. 2025 on this channel was really fun. And we did it. Like I don't even know how many shows we did. I don't have it pulled up. But you guys made this a spectacular year. I think we had over 2 million views, which is just amazing. For those of you guys that hang every single day and watch this show, it means a ton to me. And if you're new, hey, I appreciate you too. Connor, amazing job behind the scenes doing, putting together the shorts that we have. Those are the shorter videos. And then, just to be able to get on here and talk to you guys every day and just throw my Cubs opinions out in news and, kind of news and rumors and do it together has been great. So thank you. Have a happy and fantastic 2026. Can't believe it's 2026. I feel like it was just 2016. Honestly, I feel like it was like just 1986. I mean, so life goes by fast. But just from a personal and a professional standpoint, thank all of you guys for making last year fantastic. All right, we'll do it again tomorrow, unless Imai signs with the Cubs, and then just get ready. We'll go live. Happy New Year.